I wish I knew this when I was younger. The loudest person in the room is usually the one who knows the least. You ever notice how the person who knows the most is usually the quietest person in the room? And the person who knows the least is usually the loudest. I've spent many years trying to be the loudest, most boisterous person in the room, because I thought that's how you're supposed to make friends and have people like you, but it's actually the quietest, most humble person in the room who ends up having all the friends and everyone wanting to be around them, because they listen more than they talk. I used to think that being loud and boisterous and over the top is how you get ahead in life, but now I realize it's actually the opposite. It's the quiet kid who sits in the corner and observes everything and listens more than they talk who ends up going the furthest in life. Because that kid is too busy listening to everyone else and observing everything around them to be distracted by their own internal dialogue in their head, telling them they're not good enough, or they're not worthy, or they're not lovable. They don't have time for that nonsense because they're too busy developing themselves and working on themselves. The loudest person in the room is usually the one who knows the least because they're too busy trying to show everyone else how much they know. So they never actually go and develop themselves and become the smartest person in the room. Instead, they stay on the outside, they stay loud, they stay boisterous, but they never really go anywhere in life. Now, there's a difference between quiet confidence and quiet desperation. And the quiet kid who sits in the corner and doesn't talk much, if they're not developing themselves, they could just be quiet and maybe even depressed. But the person who is truly confident, who is truly secure, who is truly happy with who they are and where they're at in life, they do not need to be the loudest person in the room to know that they're valuable, and they do not need to be the smartest person in the room to know that they're intelligent. They're secure in their own sense of self-worth. They don't need to be constantly validated by other people. So if you're the person who's always trying to be the loudest in the room, I just want you to consider that maybe it's not the path to success and happiness that you think it is. Maybe it's actually the quiet kids who are going to end up going the furthest in life because they're too busy listening and learning from everyone else to be distracted by their own internal dialogue in their head.